Upload. Take some more. Jaha, du är du. Var? Gatan spelar. Åh, fy så.
Kunne vi kanskje bare spuna i
Hey guys, it's Clicks. In this course, I'm gonna give you tips that improve your gameplay and eventually you can become a pro player. Peanut buttering is when you do like a Dorito edit kind of, and then boom. And that protects everywhere, so when you jump, they can't really shoot you.
Hi guys, so for this video, we're going to be betting in their most recent patch, version 4. It's an option to performance mode option is really cool. What to you like my rushed. So what I'm gonna do to start is just queue up for a normal battle lab. We'll go and see my FPS. I'm gonna use it so I put delay. Top right I have my FPS. And this is basically what I normally play on. I'll show my settings. We have everything on low, including textures, which I do usually put on high. I'm putting it on low just for this. And then I'm on DirectX 12. You can see this used to be your DirectX mode. Now it says rendering mode. And that is where you find the performance option. So right next to DirectX 12, and now we have the performance alpha. This is the performance mode. So on the right, Epic basically described it it, they said, "Performance is an experimental new mode that offers significant performance gains by trading out visual quality to reduce memory usage and lighten the load on CPU and GPU." That's basically some fancy schmancy talk to say performance mode gets you a lot better FPS. By the way, try to keep this in mind. DX12, I have high-res textures on. I get about 400, almost 500 FPS and around 4 milliseconds of input delay. Looking forward, around 6 or 7. They're gonna look a lot different on the performance setting. Let me go and restart so we can see that. Now, before I go and reboot up the game, I want to cover a pretty popular problem people have when they switch to the performance mode. That is, they'll load back into Fortnite and go to the bottom left, file folder, click on that. You're then gonna want to go to your Epic Games launcher, saved, config, Windows, game user settings, I don't have as many settings as I did before. Man. You're gonna want to right click, go to properties, and then at the bottom, you want to uncheck read only. You do not want this checked. If that's checked, that's basically going to make it implode and we can get some nice FPS gains. Also, apply, press OK, and now you're good to go. Right away, I can already gains. Also, apply, press OK, and now you're good to go. Right away, I pixel, they're great on performance. Remember, if it does not work, you have to go into your game user settings like I just did and click off read only. You guys have probably tried this already and you know what it looks like. It's essentially mobile on PC. I'm getting a little more FPS. Let's see if I look straight up. Oh wow, yeah. Easily 100 extra FPS. A millisecond or two is knocked off in my input delay. Way better already. Rest in peace to all the grass. The map looks so much different. The thing that I've seen people complain about the most, which kind of does not make sense since this performance mode is not supposed to make your game look nice. People have been complaining about the way builds look, and I will admit they are kind of crazy looking. They're a lot more transparent. They're basically mobile graphics. Really weird. The brick you can see through. Metal is the craziest. Look at
Opera GX is a gaming browser. Yes, you heard that right. A gaming browser. Now you
Hey guys, so for this video, I'm going to cover all the best settings you need to use in Fortnite Chapter 2 Season 6. Not much has changed this new season in terms of the options we have. We actually got most of the new settings last season. Regardless, there's still a lot of stuff you guys need help with. The settings I'm going to show today will include the best colorblind mode option, the best rendering mode for your FPS, optimal brightness option, as well as your standard graphics settings. I'm also going to include a really useful FPS boost on top of that. Trust me, it will make your game feel like butter. So I hope you're all excited. Timestamps will be integrated into the video as always. Without further ado though, let's get right on into it. Alright, so to start off our settings, we're going to be on the video tab. That's basically where all the good settings are. Hopefully you guys can see it. My fat head blocks most of the screen. First up is window mode. Always, always, always play on full screen. Full screen will always get you the lowest input delay. It even says on the right. Full screen mode, you cannot interact with other windows as easily, but the game will run slightly faster. To actually prove to you guys it does, I will go to windowed full screen. When I look straight up, I get about 4 seconds of input delay. My FPS is almost at 800, which is solid. After that, windowed. This might mess up how it makes my game look. I think it looks a little stretched. My OBS is technically stretching the image. Bruh, this character. Holy, she be looking thick. Wait, what? Anyways, you can see my input delay is already higher. 4, 3.9. FPS is definitely lower. But I mean, even just building, outside of the fact I can't really play normally. or else I'll just tab out like I just did. Please use full screen mode. You will feel it, especially on windowed. After that, resolution. I play on 1920 by 1080 just because I want it to look as good as it can get. But what I recommend a lot of you guys play on is 1600 by 900. How many of you guys can tell this is not 1920 by 1080? If you say you can, you're either lying or you have the greatest eyes known to man. You have 40/20 vision. Also, look, my input delay is lower on this resolution. Lower resolution means higher FPS. Higher FPS means less input delay. See how all of these things are correlated? It's amazing. Wow. If you're still struggling to get good frames on 1600 by 900, you could try out 1280 by 720. You could probably tell on this res, it's way blurrier and stuff is not going to look as nice, especially compared to 1600 by 900. Remember, this is not a stretched res. It is all 16 by 9 aspect ratio, so it is not a stretched res. It's just less pixels. Last in the display section is frame rate limit. I have mine on unlimited because I wanted to show my FPS off, but I usually use 240. The golden rule for all these FPS caps is to put it one above the refresh rate of your monitor. So if you use a 144 Hz monitor, you're gonna cap at 160. If you use a 60 Hz monitor, cap at 120. But Jarian, why don't you cap at 360? You have a 240 Hz monitor, right? Technically, yes, I should, little Timmy, but if you look at my FPS, I do not get a stable 360 FPS, even in creative. Like, I just saw it drop down to 300, which is obviously a lot. Dropping 60 frames just in creative is not that good. Until I get a 360 Hz monitor, I'm gonna stay on 240 FPS. Second section of the video settings are the graphics. I'm annoyed that my head is in the way, but we have the brightness, colorblind mode, and colorblind mode strength. What I'm gonna do right now is I'm actually gonna skip it. Not because my head is blocking it, sort of, but I want to get back to it after with a setting we're gonna look at in a minute. I wanted a change of scenery, mainly because the setting we're gonna look at in a minute. I wanted a change of scenery. Get back to it after with a setting we're gonna look at in a minute. I wanted a change of scenery, mainly because the settings we're going to be looking at now are all the graphics quality options. There's a ton of them, and they dictate how you make your game look. To begin with the auto set quality button, I always tell you guys, never press this. It just spits out ridiculously high settings. I just pressed it. Oh god, this is what it gave me. All epic. I guess I'll apply. What? It keeps going down to like 60 FPS. Oh my gosh. I literally have 15 to 20 milliseconds of input delay. That has got to be a joke. What I recommend everyone do is go to the low quality preset. That basically turns all the graphics qualities to low and or off. And then with the 3D resolution, take the slider and put it to 100%. That's what I use. My frames are stable. They are literally locked at 240. And my input delay when I look up is 4 milliseconds. Almost what I get in creative. Pretty solid. For those of you that don't know, this 3D res slider is technically the same thing as your display resolution, the second setting we looked at. When you put this to 100%, you're basically saying, I want 100% of 1920 by 1080. That means if you want 1600 by 900, you could just go to 69%. This is 69% of 1920 by 1080, aka 1600 by 900. I did the math. I was a math major in college, and you can see my game looks solid. The reason this is in the game is because Epic wants to give you the option to go really low. So like 25%, that's the lowest. That is even lower than 1280. by 720. They also want to give you the option if you're like, oh, 1600 by 900, it's a little too blurry for me. Turn your 3D res to something above 68%. That could be 75%, 85%. All of them will give you, but it also will ever talk about that. I guess I'm the only one. I think that looks the nice. You can leave. I always put on high. You can see my game looks a lot nicer. His ass. So I'll let you intend mainly CPS. They make your game, changing it up for all the things. I'm not even gonna show an example. Turn this off. It sucks. If you actually want to enable it, go in. Into your NVIDIA settings and do it there. Please just do not ever use VSync through Fortnite. And speaking of settings you should never use, motion blur. I just sat here for like 2 minutes thinking about why I had this on, and then I realized the auto set quality button turned it on. That is proof it sucks. Turn motion blur off. I do not use motion blur. Show FPS, obviously you want on. That is gonna show you our sweet frames. Mine are actually capped right now. That is awkward. This is probably the setting that you all came here for, rendering mode. I use DX12 because I'm a content creator, but I think you all know what the best rendering mode is. It is gonna be performance mode alpha. Let me just get some base stats for DX12. I'll run over here. We're getting 700 FPS, I'll say. What's our input delay looking like? 3 milliseconds, 3.5? I can't really tell, but it's below 4. I already know performance mode is gonna be lower. It would kind of be scary if it was not.
Grattis, Sigurd. Topp.
Kunne vi kanskje bare spuna i bare sånn 5 minutter?
På de testene her er det veldig lett å tenker ikke.
Let me prove it for the non-believers.
A few minutes later.
I've just loaded up the map, and I'm pretty sure it put me on low meshes. Yep, it's low meshes. I do not know why that is the option by default. You can tell because there's just random grass in the middle of the block. Anyways, when I look up, oh my, did they buff performance mode? I'm getting 1000 FPS. That was not this high before. My input delay is cut in half. It is 2 milliseconds. I swear, the last time performance mode got me solid FPS, it was like 800. It was not 1000. This is ridiculous. That right there alone should convince you. Oh, I should actually, let me leave the game. I'm gonna change the meshes to high. Last time that did not make that much of a difference. You can only do this out of game, by the way. So meshes high will apply, load it up again. The block no longer has grass in it. And if I look up, yep, 1000 FPS. It's virtually the same. I mean, my input delay is going down to 1.8. The bubble wrap builds might even be better for your input delay. I don't know how that would work, but not only are they way better looking, way better for your gameplay, apparently they're also getting me less input delay and more FPS. What? If I was not a content creator who sucked at the game, you know I would be on performance mode this second. Unfortunately though, I have to use DX12. One last thing I want to test out before I finish these settings is DX11. Let us see how that fares. This is the final piece of the rendering mode puzzle. I gotta get my FPS. Okay, let me look there. 750. It's higher. Wait, the highs of it are higher than DX12. I see 800, but the lows are way lower. I'm seeing 500. I saw 400, 300. good. Input delay is around the same. That's one of the main reasons I use DX12 over DX11. I know I could technically get higher FPS if I wanted to brag about it in creative, kind of like I'm doing now, but I get more stable frames with DX12, and I care way more about stable FPS in both competitive and creating content. Remember though, this is all going to depend on your PC, so some of you might be better off with DX11. Some of you might be better off with DX12 like me. I think everyone should be better off in theory with performance mode. I know you may not like it, but trust me, it makes your game feel so good. Let's finish the rest of these settings with allow multi-threaded rendering. For most people, you should have this on. I'll actually show right now how you should know if it works well or not. So on your desktop, you guys cannot make fun of me anymore for being a Knicks fan. They're actually kind of decent. But if you bring up your task manager, I'm gonna search it up because I'm a nerd. Drag it over here. On the top tabs, there's one called performance. You're gonna go there. Then on the left, click CPU. That's gonna tell you what CPU you have. Down here, it says how many cores there are. I have 10 cores. If this number is above 4 or 4, you should use multi-threaded rendering. However, if you have 3 or less cores, you should probably turn it off. Use GPU crash debugging. You can even see Epic says enabling this feature comes at a small performance cost. Sorry, Epic, we want more FPS. We do not want to help you out. Turn this off. Latency markers I have on, but I usually have this off. As you can see in the top left, there's nothing there anymore. It used to say how many milliseconds of input delay I got. All you have to do is combine that setting with the latency debug stats. Now you get how many milliseconds of input delay. It is insane